Alright everybody, welcome back to the Ink and Paint Club. We're wrapping up our Final Fantasy month series here. If you haven't been following along this month, basically all month we've been reviewing Final Fantasy animated films from across the years, to celebrate Final Fantasy 15 coming out tomorrow, if you're listening to this when it comes out. I don't know anything about 15 or what it is, so it'll be interesting to review this. But anyway, as always, I'm your host JD, and with me is Gary. Gary's back.
Hello.
Yay, Gary. Gary, I honestly don't know the last time you were on here.
I think it was for one of the Digimon review.
Yeah, I think so. That sounds about right. So anyway, this movie, I'm going to try to glean some kind of semblance of a plot from this, because I'll be honest with you, I don't know I did not grasp a lot of what happened in this movie.
I will try
Okay.
to
So basically, I'm gonna
summarize.
skim Wikipedia here to give you a kind of semblance of what this is about.
Wait, we should say that, spoiler warning,
Oh.
this is a relatively new movie.
Thank you.
Because all the other old movies, you had your chance for like years.
No, I swear to God, every movie review we do, I always say spoiler warning about 20 minutes into the review. So thank you. Yeah, so it'll be heavy spoilers. We'll be talking about everything. So if you haven't watched it or don't want any spoilers for Final Fantasy 15, come back eventually, because we still need your viewership. But anyway, so what I got away from this movie is, first off, there was a huge expositional dump just at the beginning of the movie. Like the first...
Oh yeah, I did not follow that beginning
God.
part at all.
Like the first 5 minutes is just Lena Headey talking about there's Niflheim and what the fuck? What was the other one called? Lucius. There's these two kingdoms, and something happened. Something about a crystal powers a barrier, and that all happened. And so what I took away from this is that these two kingdoms hate each other, and Niflheim is the assholes, I guess. They're supposed to be the bad guys or whatever, and they want Lucius's crystal because it's Final Fantasy and you just crystals.
Yeah, this is pretty much from what
It's
I
standard
got.
Final Fantasy bullshit. But it's actually got some celebrity people in it. You got Sean Bean and Lena Headey from Game of Thrones. You got Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad and BoJack Horseman. I like that show.
Well, okay, it's awesome that they got the A-lister, but I really hate it when they do these with cross-media thing. The characters who appears in the games do not have the same voice.
Yeah, because so Lena Headey's character, Luna or Luna Freya or whatever the fuck her name is, she struck me as someone who's gonna pop up in the game a lot, and it's like, there's no way they're gonna get Lena Headey to fucking record all these lines for some nerd Japanese RPG.
It'd be awesome because the other video game has done it. I mean, Kevin Spacey was in freaking Call of Duty.
That's Call of Duty. Everybody knows Call of Duty.
Well, and it's a relatively short game, unlike
Also
the
that.
days that you do in Final Fantasy.
I mean, I'm surprised they got him for this. But yeah. So, basically this movie revolves around the titular Kingsglaive, which is like the Lucius Kingdom's royal guard, whatever. And there's this whole thing where they've got the Princess Luna lady who's supposed to be married to Noctis. I think he's the character from the game that you don't see in this movie. They're supposed to get married because the Niflheim assholes are trying to conquer everything, and that's supposed to be their peace thing or something.
Yeah, good old-fashioned arranged marriage.
Right. But I guess they're gonna get married anyway because they love each other or something. But the Niflheim guys are assholes, and they're going to take over the junk, and there's betrayal and whatnot, and I don't know. It was
Okay,
pretty. I'll give it
it
that.
was pretty. Yes.
Mel and I watched this earlier today, and we were like, I know the Academy's not gonna recognize it, but goddamn, this movie deserves some kind of technical award.
Like, if you ignore people in the foreground, I swear it's a really, really well done set. So,
Oh
like,
yeah, like
physical stuff.
right. I mean, we'll get into it in a second, but there are times in this movie I could not tell that uh, those weren't real actors. Um, just the lighting and the shading and the texturing and all the things and the modeling of all the characters, like it looked real most of the time.
I
Uh,
was watching in my living room, and my mom just said, "Wait, is this real?" several times. Like, I keep telling her, "No, this is CGI,"
That's
but she keep
hilarious.
returning. It's like, "Wait, I swear this is real. Are you sure?"
Right. I do. Okay, so the one thing Mel and I were talking about this. Maybe Gary, you can shed some light on this. Um, so we were noticing that a lot of, and I think this is a problem we had when we reviewed Spirits Within a couple weeks ago. Um, we have all of these American actors, and whenever they start to like when they exaggerate or when they start like getting really excited in their voice, the facial expression does not really match that. It's very subtle. Like the mouth movements and the rest of the face don't seem to match up a lot of the time.
Well, I have seen some behind the scenes stuff for this movie. They did do mocap based on the English
Mm-hmm.
dubbing, like and the actual actors. I think the problem is that I experienced a similar problem, but I think it's the stream issue. Uh, because sometime I on different movies or shows is that the audio gets out of sync for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually really want to get this on Blu-ray because it's a pretty movie.
Yeah. Yeah, we stream this too, and we noticed that the lip sync is fine most of the time. But it's just like the facial expressions. Like there's characters that are like yelling or something, and it doesn't feel like their face or their body movement is
Oh, you mean that?
right.
Yeah, some of the background characters definitely, like the door person for the king. Like in one scene that you see him in far away, and his mouth looks very robotic.
Um, but what Mel and I were postulating is that you've got this is it's a Japanese produced film with American actors, and we were wondering if it's maybe because we've noticed when we watch like Japanese television or Japanese movies, their acting is a lot more subtle than American acting, where we tend to like over exaggerate motion and all that stuff. So we're wondering if it's like the reason the like the acting in this movie is so like it seems a little stiff because of like the Japanese sensibility trying to match up with like the American acting. Um,
Yeah, I think it's probably something to do with the direction, and also it's that since there's an extra layer of media, because when you're dealing with live action, even the stilted, subtle reaction and emotion, you can still pretty much tell what they are. But since there's an extra layer of CG on this, it's going to be a little difficult
right.
when it comes to
Yeah.
emotion.
Uh, but I mean, other than that, I mean that was like my one animation nitpick. But I mean, the rest of this, like I was saying, this is a gorgeous movie to look at. Like, oh my god, there's just so much detail and everything, and it like I don't want this to win the Academy Award for like best animated feature because it's isn't by any means. But it needs some kind of technical award because I don't know how Square consistently
Yes.
is ahead of the game when it comes to like animation like this. But goddamn, um,
Well, it's not only the visual quality, but I also really like the design,
yeah,
the aesthetic, the Audi. I know it's a freaking product placement, but damn, that's a
I
nice
know
car.
I was laughing because it's like So this movie has a weird tone where it's like there's magic and monsters and all this like medieval bullshittery going on, but it's also set in kind of a modern time because it's like the beginning of the movie starts with this giant monster fight in the middle of a desert, and then they immediately transfer over to this like modern looking city with all these modern looking cars, and then they get into this sports car. And it's like, you know, that looks like a car you could get.
That is a actual car
I know.
that you can get. The model is a real car, but the fancy decorating, it's a one-of-a-kind collector item that I don't know if they sold it yet, but they were selling raffle tickets for very expensive raffle ticket for it.
But yeah, it was funny because we were sitting there, and it was like, because Mel and I were just going back and forth. It's like, that looks just like a car you could just go get. And it's like, yeah, it kind of looks like an Audi car. About 10 minutes later, I see the front of the car and it has the Audi logo on it. It's like, God damn it.
But not only the car, the architecture. I love that city. Even the road design, something as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, they put a lot of thought into like how this city, I think it's the city of Insomnia or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, they put a lot of thought into how this place was constructed. I mean, they've got just every little detail in there. I mean, it looks like what cities might look like in the future.
Exactly.
Like in the near future. I mean, they've got cars that, you know, could feasibly exist and all that kind of stuff.
And the style with modern skyscraper style, but also have this like either gothic or neoclassical kind of style to it. Mm-hmm. This mixture somehow works.
Yeah, it was interesting because it's like you've got this giant modern looking city, but in the middle of it is this giant Notre Dame looking cathedral castle thing. And it's like, yeah, it's Final Fantasy. I buy that. Why not? Oh my god. Okay, I want to know. I want to know if you noticed this too. I didn't notice it so much in the middle of the movie, but I definitely noticed it at the beginning and the end. There's these. They like to cut to black and then fade up from black in between cuts.
Yes, that bugged me.
It bugged the shit out of me. There's the one that especially got me. Is that there's a scene at the end where Luna and Nyx's friend, whose name I can't remember, his friend was supposed to drive her out of the city away from the big battle or whatever, and they're splitting up. Like, Luna gets out of the car, fades to black, fades back up from black, and it just cuts to the guy on the other side of the car calling out to her.
Yeah, some of the editing choices, it's a little weird.
Like, it seemed like at those spots, it looked like it was like fading out from a cutscene, then it was like going into gameplay, and that was cutting back from the gameplay.
Well,
there's no gameplay in this movie.
I have heard that parts of the movie are cutscenes in the game. So that could be why. I'm just speculating here, so.
That would be interesting if all those fade to blacks or what are just cutscenes in between gameplays in the game. Oh, that would be kind of funny.
Speaking of that scene, I have to go back to the car again, the Audi. Yeah. There is no way that car ends up not at least having a scratch. It's still pristine at the very end.
Oh god, yeah, the thing is way too clean after all the shit. It went through like some 2012, if anyone remembers that fucking disaster of a movie, like level destruction that it just drives through and it just comes out without a scratch or a speck of dust on it. It's just like, that's the most unbelievable thing about this movie. Fuck the monsters and all the magic. It's like, I don't believe that car got through that in one piece. Especially like there's parts where they're just driving down and Nyx's best friend just gets out of the car and starts shooting people from the roof of the car. And they're just having people shoot up. There's no gun. Yeah, there's no gun hole. There's no bullet holes in this car at all. Oh my god. Okay. And the other thing that I don't know why this bugs me, but because it's such a cliche at this point. But this is yet another movie where Sean Bean doesn't live to see the end.
Oh, I don't follow enough Sean Bean to notice this, so that's something new, and that is possible spoiler for all the other movie he's in for me.
he died in Lord of the Rings, he died in Game of Thrones, he dies in pretty much everything he's in. Which is why it's such a running joke, is that Sean Bean has never lives to see the end of a movie.
Well, he seems to at least die a hero in most of them.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of his other movies. That's just the only 3 examples I know of at the top of my head. But yeah. King Regis' face weirds me out. I don't know why. Because he has like this wide-eyed stare, but he has like this tiny little mouth.
Could it be
His
the beard?
face. No, it's just the way he has like this weird O shape with his mouth just constantly. I mean, this isn't a visual podcast. You can't see the face I'm making, but it was weird. So
should we move?
So
oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Go
Well,
ahead.
I mean, should we move to the story? Like, start from the beginning of the movie and see what we liked and what we didn't like.
If you want to try to put this plot in any sort of context, go ahead.
Well,
I mean, I like the whole introduction to the Kingsglaive. They kind of set it up as like this. It's basically the King's Knights or whatever.
like the special forces.
Right, basically. And okay, so they didn't really explain it at all, but it's something you kind of had to pick up with, and it's something we noticed with Final Fantasy is you're basically expected to just roll with whatever they do. But they have this power where they like throw this boomerang knife or whatever, and they could teleport to wherever it lands.
Actually, I understand. It said that all the magic comes from the king.
Right.
So if the kings die, all the magic is gone. So they'll be useless.
What I was saying is like that whole teleporting power, they never say like, oh, this is how that works. They're just like, okay, because I didn't know if they were like throwing their knives at a monster or whatever just to attack it, and then they could just teleport independently of that. But it seemed like they always had to throw it so they'd have
You have to
a spot. It's like a beacon for where they teleport to.
Yeah.
But
It didn't bug me at all because it seems to be at least consistent. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it was consistent, and after a while, I picked that up, and it's like, oh, okay, that's how it works. You throw the thing, you teleport to the thing. That's cool. I mean, at first, I only thought that was something that Nyx had, Aaron Paul's character. I thought that was only something he could do, but then everyone else starts doing it. The fucking statue robots at the end can do it. I guess. Well, that was cool. Where was I going with this?
Well, the beginning battle scene. I mean,
Yeah,
that was pretty cool. There isn't much of anything that bugs me except for the cars that they use when they're retreating. They're a freaking military organization and they're driving around in vans.
Yeah, they're just vans and jeeps and stuff, and it's like, oh god. But okay, so I mean, I think it was a cool design, like, because in this beginning battle, they like drop this giant behemoth monster, but the entire time it's like covered in smoke, so you don't even see what it looks like.
Yes, it does make it more menacing, and the review later on a lot better.
Right. So that's cool. I'm trying to think. I had some other things I wanted to say, and I can't remember. Gary, what were your favorite parts of the movie?
Favorite part? I don't know, because there are a lot of awesome stuff, but then if I look at it a little deeper about, like, visually, they're awesome, but look a little bit deeper story-wise, it just sort of doesn't make sense. Like, okay, the sky battle. It's a little bit later on when Niflheim finally invades. Where the hell did the sky kraken came from? It just appeared out of nowhere. Oh my god. No mention at all.
Yes. Okay, I have 2 problems with that. 1, yes, where the fuck did it come from? And 2, this thing is enormous. There's a scene where they like finally get, because I guess Niflheim like kidnapped Princess Luna, but I guess
I also have problem with that. But let's continue with this.
Right, but okay, so they've got Luna out of her captor, and they're like in this tiny hotel-looking like corridor hallway space. This tentacle just comes out of nowhere with no explanation. It just grabs a dude and just drags him away. But then when like the ship starts falling apart and you get into like the big hangar area, this thing is enormous. How the fuck did that thing know to go down the hallway, grab something, and drag it back? How did it fit? Like, it doesn't make sense.
It's a midway through like Deus Ex Machina kind of antagonistic way. It's just,
I guess.
I mean, at least with the giant Colossus monster, it was introduced at the very beginning. It's a mysterious shroud of dust monster.
Right.
But this was never seen before, nor afterward. It's just there. Once.
Yeah, it shows up with no explanation, it leaves with no explanation.
At least make it so that it's another Niflheim weapon, or like someone say, release the Kraken, as corny as it is. But no, it just appeared.
The only reason I bought that thing was there is because it showed at the beginning of the movie that Niflheim has all of these, like, has a horde of monsters at its disposal. So I'm like, sure, it has a giant Kraken monster on an airship. Why not?
Yeah, but still, it's just really random. But, okay, moving on to the kidnapping. Why? Okay, the things that was supposed to happen, that's like Niflheim plans to basically kidnap the princess again.
Right.
But if that's the case, why? Well, they depend on her being tracked through that little hair clip thing. If that's the case, like that's their objective of the princess being like as a bait to lure the Kingsglaive to their trap. Why did they assassinate the Lady Kingsglaive that was supposed to deliver the hair clip to her?
I have no fucking idea, man. That whole bit where, like, I didn't even know what happened, because they're like, all right, we're gonna send, I think her name was Crow or something. They're like, okay, we're gonna split up. We're gonna go get the princess and escort her. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. We're gonna take her and bring her to the king, the good king or whatever. Okay, that's cool. So all the guys are gonna go in the van, and the girl is gonna go off on her motorcycle, which we were saying is like, you couldn't have Final Fantasied up this motorcycle just a little bit. Coming off of watching Advent Children last week, and Cloud had like this giant fucking motorcycle built out of semi parts.
Well, she's supposed to be like infiltrating. She can't be all dazzled up.
I'm just saying that they could have did that with most of the vehicles, but anyway, yeah, it just like, she goes off, it cuts to whatever the guys are doing, and then cuts back and she's dead with no explanation.
Yeah, well, we didn't find out until later on she was betrayed, but there's still no point for that to happen, since the bad guy needed the tracking device on the princess in the first place.
Right. So, yeah. So they were completely banking on killing Crow, getting the tracking thing from him, giving it to Nyx, who will then give it to the princess. Seems really roundabout.
Yeah. And another thing that bugs me about part of the organization is that, yeah, they did explain that the people who betray the Kingsglaive in the Kingsglaive, they're doing it because they want their homeland free, since they're all immigrants. But they seem so maniacal. Like, at least add some cynicism. It's like a reluctancy to them.
My God.
It's like, yeah, let's all be evil and help the empire to conquer our homeland.
Oh my God. Okay, so this is one of my biggest gripes with this movie. So there's that general guy who's like in the armor and all that shit. So you find out at the end of the movie that this big badass General Knight guy, I don't remember his name, he's General something or other, is the captain of the Kingsglaive in disguise. Or something like that. And there was no indication up until that point that he might have been evil as something. What? He's like, you think they're two separate characters, and then he just turns into the other one.
What there is
towards the end of
one little clue that, in hindsight, it will show. It's that when the armor general person showed up beforehand, before the climax, during all the diplomatic stuff, the captain was. Nobody can contact the captain. But I thought it's just some other stuff that, because the captain was dealing with the whole extracting the princess deal. I thought that's what he was doing.
Right.
So in hindsight, it does make sense, but it was done in a very terrible way.
I know. It just like I get it. There were like you said, there's probably clues back there indicating that yes, this guy is evil, that he was going to be this general guy masquerading or whatever. But when it's just because it's like it like the general guy shows up towards the like end of the thing and he's like trying to help Nyx or whatever. And then a car hits him and then he flips the car and is in the armor. And I'm like, well, that just seems out of nowhere.
Well, yeah, and also extremely nowhere, because that means that either Niflheim has some sort of teleportation technology or they can use magic. Because
right.
Unless he have magic to like suddenly summon his armor, then they have to have some sort of teleportation technology, which neither of them established, because Niflheim is supposed to be this non-magical empire.
Right, because I guess there's this whole thing where like a bunch of these kingdoms all over the world used to have these like crystals that imbued the kings with magic power, but I guess Lucius is the only one with a crystal anymore, which I guess Niflheim tries to steal from them. But yeah, Niflheim doesn't have any magic, so how the fuck was he pulling that off? Oh my god.
So, a little inconsistency that really bugs me.
This movie's full of it. It's full of inconsistencies. I will say, because I feel like I'm harping on this a lot. I do want to say I did love the nods to Final Fantasy lore.
What, the Chocobo shit?
Dude, I love that their delivery service is called Speedy Chocobo. I was laughing for like a good couple minutes over that. He's like, that's hilarious. I love that. And I love that like they're making they're like in the slums eating or something. It's like, this tastes like Chocobo shit. And I don't know, it was funny because when we watched Spirits Within the other a couple weeks ago, we were just like, other than the fact there's a live stream and a guy named Sid, there's no tie to Final Fantasy in this, but there's just there's certain things that are very hallmark to Final Fantasy, and I'm glad that this movie at least tried to slip a few of those in.
Well, because this is actually for Final Fantasy, unlike Spirits Within. Because I do remember Spirits Within, and at the time when I first watched it, I knew nothing of Final Fantasy, and I can still tell that it had nothing to do with Final Fantasy.
Oh, it's not a good movie. It's boring, if anything else. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, Kingsglaive, I feel like if I had been researching Final Fantasy 15, or I watched this after I play the game, which I won't because I don't have anything to play it on, I feel like maybe I would have gotten more out of this movie.
It suffered from pacing issue. This movie has a lot of similarity with my opinion of Batman v Superman. I love everything about it but the editing and plot.
Yeah, that's fair. I get that. Yeah, I agree. The pacing is kind of all over the place. It's like the action set pieces are really good.
Yeah,
even though especially that right. Even though that last bit where Nyx is fighting the general and like the monster is fighting these giant statues, which I assume the statues were supposed to be the old kings.
Yeah,
where it gets his power from,
or some sort of heavenly,
right,
deities of some sort. No.
And that's another thing that comes out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah,
is that like Nyx is like fighting, and then like the giant like monster from the beginning of the movie comes back, and then these giant statues that we've never seen before, but are apparently just attached to the side of buildings, just come to life and start beating the crap out of this thing.
No, we've seen them, but they're just unnoticeable in the background because Final Fantasy is a little over-designed, even though I do love what they do with it, is that these type of big giant statues, they just hide them in the background. And because of everything is going on, you don't really notice them.
Yeah,
I remember seeing them one or two at the very beginning. And it's not that the giant statue coming alive that bugs me, it's the freaking ring. What it can do. It just came out from the middle of nowhere. Like the
Okay.
guy putting on, because all the statues related to this royal ring, and the one of the guy who tried to kill the king managed to cut off the ring, and then he put it on and he burst into flame. That came out of nowhere, and it's a really important MacGuffin, and I feel like that's going to play a lot of a huge role in the game as well.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So the thing about the ring. So there's this ring, I guess, and it holds the power of like all of the kings of Lucius before them, and they can lend their power to the king so he can supply magic to all his troops or whatever. Okay, I can roll with that. My understanding of it is that you have to have the ring on to do all this. And unless I saw that scene wrong, after Nyx gets the power from the kings to do all this magic stuff, because Sean Bean dies, like King Regis or whatever, he dies, so all the magic goes away. Nyx bargains with the old kings to get the magic back. And unless I saw the scene wrong, doesn't he take the ring off and give it to Luna, who leaves?
Yeah, I personally don't have a problem with that scene because it's so.
Well,
It's,
my problem with it is that up until that point, my understanding is that this magic works as long as he has the ring on. He takes the ring off, gives it to someone else, but can still do all this magic.
well, to me, is that you don't have to have the ring on. It's when you put the ring on, you get judged by the previous kings and spirits and stuff, and if they deem you worthy, they could just, because they are this godly beings, they could just give you magical power even without the ring, and if they so choose.
I guess.
So that's how I interpret it. So I didn't see a problem with it. But
Yeah.
it's that moment, I did like it. How that he is just this common man, not even of royal blood and not even of this country, and the gods were able to give him this power to fight.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean,
it's just, it came out of nowhere. The ring is freaking. They need to at least have said something at the very beginning. It's like this ring, or something.
and man, it was like so arbitrary, their price for getting the power back, because it's like, because I guess when he puts the ring on and goes to talk to the old kings, time slows down to a crawl, and basically, the general is about to kill, I think, Luna, and they basically tell him, it's like, okay, we'll give you the power, but it'll cost you a life. It is like, you can either sacrifice Luna or you can sacrifice your best friend. And he somehow finagles away, so it's like neither of them are gonna die, but they're like, okay, you can have all of our magical powers, but as soon as the sun comes up, you die.
Yeah,
It's
but
like, why?
well, I think that the test is like you either sacrifice the person you're sworn to protect or your own best friend. It's a test. If you sacrifice either of them, that means you're not worthy and you're burned to a crisp.
Right, but it's like, it seems so arbitrary, because it's like, they deemed him worthy, they give him the power. That's great.
But he's not
So-
of royal blood, so that's.
So, they gave him the power, why can't they just overlook that little detail? It's like, alright, why do you have to kill the guy at the end?
Yeah, I do get it, but I do understand where you're coming from. It's just that
Right.
it's a movie. They need these type of like deadline to like increase
Right.
the
I guess.
heighten
You need
the
a
plot tension.
You need a ticking clock. I get it. That's movie trope 101, I guess. But
Well, but here's the thing, because since they introduced this very late on randomly, now when you think about back from the very like middle or early part of the movie, why didn't the god intervene? Why didn't they use the giant statue?
yeah,
Like the more you like, they introduce a lot of this awesome stuff, but when you keep thinking, it's all about hindsight. Because when you think about it, why didn't they use it earlier?
yeah. This movie is like, the farther you get into it, the more questions asked. It's like, why didn't you do this before? Why is this just being brought up now? Oh my god! But yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I think that's about all I've got on this. Like, I don't want to make it sound like I hate this movie, because I didn't. It was nice, and I think if I had a console to play it, it might make me interested to go watch 15, or go play 15, I guess. But like I said, I feel like I didn't get as much out of this as I would have had I done more research into the lore of 15, because like you got that whole expositional dump at the beginning where it's like, these are the kingdoms, this is why they hate each other, blah blah blah, this is why the armies are fighting, this is what happened, people died, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that's a lot to just dump on me for like having no idea what's going on here.
Well, this movie is also a semi-prequel to the game. I feel like that, I mean, since it's all marketing, I feel like this is just a...
Oh, it is.
Yeah. Basically, they're trying to get you to buy the game. They want to leave a lot of stuff vague so you could get the game, play it to find out what's going on. Or what happened.
My understanding is it runs alongside the game. So...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if their goal was to make me interested in learning more about 15, I guess they kind of succeeded, because I'm kind of interested now.
I do want to play it. Curse you, marketing.
Curse you, marketing. Damn you, corporate America.
Well, it's corporate Japan.
Damn you, corporate Japan. No, but I guess the thing to take away from this is that if you're even remotely interested in the world of Final Fantasy 15, I think this is a good way to get you hyped up for it, or to watch after the fact text. But man, if you're going into this with no real attachment to Final Fantasy, I don't know how you're gonna handle this one.
Well, I have no real attachment to Final Fantasy. I never play any of the game, and I was never interested in playing the game. But after I watched it, I did enjoy it, and I did like it more than some of the actual like big budget Hollywood movies, like all the DC extended universe movies. This is better than Batman v Superman, better than Suicide Squad. I'm sorry.
Oh, I mean, I'd probably put Suicide Squad above this, mostly because I had entertaining. But I'll give you Batman, Superman. I still have hope for Wonder Woman, though. That's.
Hopefully.
I mean, I hope Zack Snyder keeps his little fingers out of it.
But still, this movie is better than some like actual like big budget Hollywood movie. So that's saying something.
Yeah.
Still watch it even if you have no interest in Final Fantasy.
I mean, if you're any kind of fan of animation, I mean, it's worth it with that alone, because like we were saying, I mean, this movie is gorgeous to look at.
If you like sci-fi or fantasy movie,
yeah,
just give it a watch. It's even if you don't take away anything from it, or even if you don't want the game, it's still a good. I mean, just a good like 2 hours worth of fun.
Yeah.
Just don't look too deep into the plot, because it'll start far apart.
It'll just unravel in front of you. But yeah, I think that works for this week. I guess thanks for, if you've been keeping up with us, thanks for listening to our little month-long theme of Final Fantasy. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't listened to our other reviews, go back and watch them. A couple of them will be linked at the end of the video. But yeah, I had fun going back and watching all these movies. I'd never seen Legend of the Crystals, the first one we did, and it'd been years since I'd watched Spirits Within or Advent Children, so it was interesting going back, and it's kind of made me get back into the Final Fantasy series. I actually started playing 7 again the other night. Well, I was trying, because I had it on my PSP, so I transferred over to my PS3, but my save data doesn't transfer over, so I had to start the game over. So, yay for...
No cheat code?
Yay for doing the bombing mission for the 10th time.
Yeah, I have no patience for these type of turn-based RPG.
Yeah.
So that's why I never got into it. Which is weird, because I love turn-based strategy.
Well, turn-based strategy and turn-based like RPG are a little different, but I agree with you. It takes a special kind of RPG to keep my interest. Like Pokemon is like the only turn-based RPG that consistently keeps my attention, but I can get into Final Fantasy if it's the right setting, so that's cool. But yeah, I think that about does us for this week.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, Gary, thank you, because no one else wanted to do this review with me because they're buttholes.
Well, it's a new movie. It's hard to get, so.
I know. Luca, who helped me with Advent Children last week, said he didn't want to watch it because he didn't want to get spoiled or something for 15, which I can respect.
Well, yeah, but still, I don't think I got anything spoiled for 15.
Okay,
So.
well, that's good. So, does it for this week. Again, thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed our Final Fantasy month. There's still a few more animated Final Fantasy movies that we didn't get to, so if you want us to review those, let us know. Maybe we'll do them in the future sometime.
Yeah, actually, Final Fantasy 15 does have a miniseries, animated miniseries, anime style rather than fancy CG.
Good to know. Maybe we'll have to check that out at some point. Maybe we'll do another Final Fantasy month. I'm sure there's another month's worth of stuff to fill up, so maybe we'll do that. So let us know if you want us to do that. That's cool. But yeah, I don't know what we're doing next week. It'll be December, so maybe we'll start doing Christmas stuff. I don't know. Come back. It'll be a surprise. But, so Gary, thanks again for helping me this week.
Thank you.
And to everyone out there, make sure you go back and listen to our other reviews. And until next week, we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.